Yeah, there's a certain sadness I have because even though I knew this was all going to happen, every day, every week, every month, as it's just confirmed, it looks like we're going down the worst road towards total collapse and depression instead of the better road of just, a long, dark winter and a prolonged 4, 5, 6 year deep recession. Every indicator looks like of the two bad roads that we know we're going down, it's going to be the worst of the two.
I agree with you, and, I have the same feelings, but after almost 50 years of doing this, I put my heart in my back pocket and my sympathy there as well and continue to just report the facts and the truth of what's going on. Because if I stop to think of it just like you just did, I'd get morose because it's a nasty situation.
Meanwhile, still a lot of mainline yuppies and, the types, the know-it-all, the types that you tell them, hey, kids are dying in Africa, and they say, how does that affect me? They're on power trips. They still have no idea that they're dancing around in a minefield. They're making no preparation. They see people losing jobs all around them, and they just giggle about it in a weird competitive way. I don't think they understand. We're talking about near total wipeout if this trend continues. And that's not just Bob Chapman. It's of course, Dr. Paul Craig Roberts. It's Joseph Stiglitz. I mean, this is the real brains that are all in unison saying this.
Well, my daughter is giving talks to her.
Rape everybody. What happens when the yuppies, Bob, find out that they've had their dollar value destroyed?
I think probably most of them will sit down and cry because they never had a bad day in their life.
And then they're going to come try to loot our houses.
I wouldn't recommend that because people like us are well prepared.
Bob Chapman's our guest. He's going to be with us into the next hour. We're going to go to your calls. Bob and Joe and Derek and Jake and Jack and many others that are patiently holding at 1-800-259-9231. Bob, we really should reintroduce you because some of my audience may not know who you are. Why don't you spend a minute or so just telling us about your evolution, military intelligence, and then getting into stock market, gold brokering, a financial writer, biggest newsletter. Back in the age of newsletters, that's a big deal, biggest financial newsletter in the world. Just spend about 60 seconds on that, then I've got more questions.
Well, I grew up in Boston, went to University at Northeastern, was in counterintelligence. I spent several years doing that. I went into the stock brokerage business. I was there for 28 years, specializing in gold and silver related assets, gold and silver shares. And I owned my own firm for a number of years. When I retired, I had 6,000 clients. The average broker has about 200 or 300. And after a very short term of retirement, which I ended at 52 years old, last 18 or 19 years, I've been producing the International Forecaster. And we've had great success. Very happy that we've been able to help a lot of people, and hope we can continue to do so.
Bob, and I want to get technical in the next hour and take calls, but right now, just in basics for laymen out there, what do you see? I mean, you've laid out the next 11 months, 12 months into the next election, but the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, how long? Dr. Roberts thinks it's going to be a long, dark winter, just slowly sliding as they consolidate power and wealth, and that the globalists do believe they can control it. I mean, that's, again, what major financial papers are saying and admitting. But a lot of people are saying it's so bad they can't control it. I mean, what are people going to do on the ground who literally are becoming homeless?
I don't have an answer for the people who are homeless or in that track because the damage has been done. I think their families and friends have to help them. That's the only way out for them. The opportunities to get jobs are very, very small, and now it's very affecting educated people, college degrees, who leave a job or lose a job for whatever reason. They are finding that they can't get reemployed, particularly if they're over 40 years old. Companies just don't want you anymore. And we have this continual offshoring and outsourcing, not only in manufacturing, but now we've got it at the higher levels of employment, jobs that are paying anywhere between $60,000 and $200,000 a year. We're talking about radiologists and attorneys and accountants and many, many professional areas. So this is all coming at exactly the wrong time. And, of course, we don't have any tariffs, so other countries continue to devalue their currency so they can continue to send inexpensive goods to the United States. At the same time, they're in importing inflation, but others don't care about it. And until we stop them from doing that, they're going to continue to slaughter our economy. And the only way to stop that is to put up tariffs. And we had tariffs since 1800, and it made America a very strong country because we didn't allow the Chinese in 1795 to send brooms in that cost them 5 cents to make that they could sell at $1. We wouldn't allow that.
Bob, stay there. We'll be back in 70 seconds.
TN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
We are now into the third and final hour. I want to go over some headlines with Bob Chapman, and your calls will be in the next segment, I promise, for everyone patiently holding. I was talking to Bob during the break, and he concurred that there are elite factions that are trying to, and didn't want to pop the real estate bubble, to start this unraveling so they can consolidate, so they can come in with their foreign currencies and buy up the infrastructure. Bob, what happens now that the credit card debts are starting to come due? What happens? I mean, you say that things could, just continue their slow slide into the end of the year. What's the percentage, guesstimation, dead reckoning on that versus, I think at any time it could just implode even faster. I mean, what's the possibility of that?
Well, we don't know that. It is possible. It's probable, but we just can't say that. We have to look at the fundamental facts that we have, and we have to look at the mosaic that's put together by what these people have done in the past. And that's why I was projecting what I did with the market and then with the economy. As you mentioned, there's big consolidations going on, and this real estate market was taken up, and now it's being deliberately taken back down again. And they did it through what they call a credit crisis. And what's happening is very obvious in the retail real estate industry. And we haven't come anywhere near the bottom yet in the 30 former hot areas. We're looking at 35 to 40% losses from the top, and we've only experienced about 15. So we got a couple of years to go on that, plus the subprime, also loans, and then we got the option loans coming after them. So this is not going to go away for 4 or 5 years. But one of the interesting things here is, why was that done? It was done to consolidate the mortgage industry within the banking industry. Morgan takes over WAMU, and Bank of America takes over Countrywide, and there's been 211 mortgage companies that have gone out of business. They want all the business. Second of all, you're going to see the big hitters, the real big hitters, a lot of money from outside the country coming in to take advantage of the commercial real estate market. In just 6 months, the commercial real estate market has dropped from 15 to 25%, depending upon where you're at. And that's because people just can't get any money to make deals. And so it'll continue to slide along with the retail market when it reaches what the people who cause these things, to a bottom that they're looking for, and they'll just waltz in and buy everything.
Again, creating an economic climate where it's a fire sale.
Exactly. And they'll do the same thing with the stock market, too. Yes, they'll hold it perhaps above 10,000 before the year's out. And there can be an untoward event that'll happen that could cause that to blow up. But assuming that we don't have that event, this will go on into next year, and the market will probably go down to, on the Dow basis, 7286, which was the bottom in 2001. And that'll be tested, and if it doesn't get any better, which I don't think it will, we'll be heading for 4,000 to 4,500. These pension plans are going to get ravaged.